What's up, everyone? Coming at you with 6 NCAA basketball picks for Saturday, February 17th. Yesterday's video covering the college ranks went absolutely nuts, so thank you to everyone who watched. Message received. We will be posting NCAA basketball picks videos every day, so hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on our daily NCAA basketball and NBA videos. These picks are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com, where you can get all of our best picks and predictions on every major sport. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or bets on today's college basketball slate. I read and respond to every single comment. Now let's dive into our first game of the day, an ACC showdown between Wake Forest and Virginia. Wake Forest comes into this game fresh off a tough road loss to number 9 Duke, and while that loss did snap a 3-game winning streak, they still need some premium wins if they want to boost their tournament resume. This squad has good offensive numbers when you look at their overall season averages, but are they good enough to put up those numbers against above average opponents? Their conference record would say no. We're looking at Wake Forest sitting around 4th place. Yeah, they're 1 game up on the pack, but they are 2 games back of teams like Virginia, Duke, North Carolina, and they're clearly not a team that's up to that kind of level. Virginia just had an 8-game winning streak snapped by an extremely rare home loss, losing to Pitt. Not a great loss by any stretch of the imagination, but not that bad. Pittsburgh's been a middle-of-the-road ACC team. They're not terrible. The Cavaliers continue to play their annoying but effective brand of defense first, and while it's absolutely terrible to watch, I can really see why they keep doing it. It gets the job done. It is consistent. This team has been great at home all season long. They have a solid leader in Reese Beekman, who could be putting up more offensive numbers if he played in a more offensively geared system. We're taking Virginia -3 at home in this one, where they are a staggering 9-4-1 against the spread. And they'll be looking to bounce back from that tough loss by getting revenge on a team that beat them earlier in the season. Next up, we're looking at number 14 Illinois heading to Maryland. Illinois has won 4 of their last 5 overall, with their only loss in that stretch coming in a very competitive game played at Michigan State. Terrence Shannon Jr. is an absolute monster, scoring 21 per game on nearly 50% shooting, and this team is one of the most gifted offensive units in the country, putting up 83 points per game. The Illini are insanely good on the board, and their defense keeps looking better and better. Maryland is in a bit of a letdown spot after a win at home over Iowa, but have dropped 3 of their last 4. This team has struggled to score enough points to keep up against their elite Big Ten opponents, despite Jameer Young scoring 20 points per game. This team is middle of the road on the boards, and their defense mostly depends on them playing at a slower pace. Earlier in the season, Illinois lost 76-67 at home in this matchup, which is pretty surprising, but that was back when Terrence Shannon Jr. wasn't playing, so the Fighting Illini will be out for blood in this one. Take Illinois -1 on the road in this game in what is basically a pick'em game where we're getting by far the better team. Next up, we're going to look at one of the premier matchups of the day. We've got number 22 Kentucky visiting number 13 Auburn. Kentucky comes into this game struggling a little bit. They've lost 3 of their last 5, with the wins in that stretch coming against lowly Vanderbilt and Ole Miss. The Wildcats lost to Gonzaga during that stretch, and once again this season, it looks like this is an unserious John Calipari team that is more focused on players putting up big numbers as they get ready for the league than on playing actual winning basketball at the college level. Auburn has looked like one of the best teams in the nation, and in the SEC, recently winning 4 of their last 5, including a huge win over Alabama. In their last time out, they took down number 11 South Carolina by 40 points. This team plays together, they play amazing defense, and they really rebound the ball with intensity. There are fewer individual stars on this team, but as a cohesive unit, they are absolutely elite. The Tigers are just a fantastic overall team with amazing defense. They have enough individual talent to keep up with Kentucky, and the Wildcats just don't scare me too much. Sure, Antonio Reeves is putting up 20 points per game, but that's not really mattering when it comes to the win column. We're going to take Auburn -9 at home in this one. It feels like a lot of points, but they're the far better team and should have no problems against a Kentucky team that will struggle to compete rebounding and have a hard time against elite defense, especially playing in this hostile environment. Auburn is 9-4-0 against the spread playing at home. We're riding with the Tigers at home. Looking at a Big 12 matchup in this one, we've got Baylor headed to West Virginia. Baylor finally seems to be figuring things out, winning 4 of their last 5 overall, with their only loss coming by 3 points at number 4 Kansas. The Bears are an elite offensive team with the defense coming together. Things are headed in the right direction. Despite a rougher season than they would like, the Bears are only a single loss behind the top teams in the Big 12. That's a pretty big accomplishment, and they've been doing all of that without premier individual offensive talent, which means we don't have to worry about one player like having an off night and ruining this pick for us. West Virginia, on the other hand, has been floundering. They've dropped 5 of their last 6, and while they've surprised some teams this season at home, they will really have to pull off a shocker in this one. The Mountaineers are a very weak offensive team that has to rely on their defense to somehow get the job done, but with weak rebounding numbers, that is a very tall order. This team was kind of put behind the 8 ball with lots of off-season drama, tons of problems, Every win they've gotten this year kind of feels like a bonus, but when you're only putting up 67.9 points a game, those wins are going to be few and far between. Take Baylor -8 in this one, as I expect them to get the win and cover on the road, where they're a very solid 4-1 against the spread. The Bears are playing great, and I don't think they lose focus right now, despite this being a little bit of a look-ahead spot for them. Next up, we're headed to the Missouri Valley. We've got number 23 Indiana State heading to Illinois to take on Southern Illinois, the Salukis in this one. Indiana State comes in this game fresh off a loss to Illinois State. Not a good loss at all. Indiana State is ranked in the top 25 for the first time since Larry Bird, but losing in a big upset, not a great way to celebrate that. The Sycamores have been one of the best teams in the Missouri Valley Conference all season long and really played their worst game of the season in that loss. This team is elite shooting the ball. They are averaging the 11th most points per game in the country. That's insane, especially for a Missouri Valley team, a conference that prides itself on defense. This offense can really hum, and now they are in a massive bounce-back spot after falling to an opponent with a below 500 record in regular season play and in conference play. Southern Illinois just got blown out by Belmont and have dropped 2 of 3 and are 3-3 in their last 6 games overall. The Salukis are not a strong offensive team, and the rebounding is a nightmare, not just because their pace is so poor. Xavier Johnson and his 23.4 points a game are a concern for us on this one, but does this team come with enough points overall against an elite conference opponent that's out for revenge? I don't know, guys. This seems like a pretty tall order for a very rough-looking Southern Illinois team. Their rebounding is so bad. Like, I don't think they really find a way to keep this one close, especially against a team that's out for revenge. Take Indiana State -4 on the road in this one. I'm putting a lot of credence into the bounce-back angle, so if that's something that scares you off, I understand, but I really think they will come out and dominate Southern Illinois for the second time this season. In the final game we're going to cover for this slate, we're looking at Colorado taking on USC in a Pac-12 showdown. Colorado comes into this game, man, they're having a bad time. They need to right the ship. The Buffaloes have dropped 4 of their last 5 overall and have tumbled down the standings in the Pac-12. Their last time out, they lost to a surging UCLA team in a very tough game. It was really terrible. It was abysmal watching KJ Simpson just like flounder around out there. He couldn't throw in the ocean in that game. He scored only 4 points. His season average is around 18. He was just, man, one of those games. If you've ever played basketball, I'm sure you've gone through this, but sometimes you just cannot find it. You do not have it. The Buffaloes are playing at USC. The Trojans have been one of the 2 worst teams in the Pac-12, and it's just been a race to the bottom between them and Oregon State. Having Bronny James has clearly not helped. Shocker of the year. They got a rare win their last time out, getting a home win over Utah. It was a very close game. A last-second block by Josh Morgan kind of sealed it. The Trojans have been not very good. Their terrible defense and terrible rebounding, they just can't really pull this thing together. Maybe they've been playing just slightly better down the stretch here, but I don't really see it. This team isn't going to go on some sort of wild run where they make some sort of like play to make a deep run in the Pac-12 tournament. Like, they're not going to the NCAA tournament. They're not going to the NIT. If they go to any sort of weird little tournament, it's going to be solely because Bronny James is on the roster scoring 4 or 5 points a game. Nothing too exciting. We're going to take Colorado -2 to get a much-needed road win and cover in this one. They're playing against a team they comfortably beat early in the season, and we're betting on a huge bounce-back game from KJ Simpson and the rest of the Buffaloes as they work towards their very legitimate shot at earning an NCAA tournament spot. That's all of our games for today. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to comment below with any questions or comments about these picks or today's slate, and check out stumpthespread.com to see all of our top plays. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more NCAA basketball action.